Well, hello everybody. My name is Stu here for you, and oh my goodness, we have an incredible group of membership site owners here to share their story with you. I guarantee you it's going to provide all kinds of inspiration and get the wheels turning. I want to just give a shout out to everybody in the comments who is letting me know where they are watching and listening from. It is super fun to see that we have people from all around the world, like Tracy, as an example, from the UK. Then we go to the complete opposite side of the world, and we have SB Success Factor. This is Suze from Vancouver. Then I can see here we've got Kaylee from New Zealand, which is incredible. I'm scrolling through. I've got, let's see, Heather from Detroit, and then Chris from Louisville, Kentucky. Let's see here. Goodness me, you guys are coming in fast and furious. Thank you. This is so fun. Sheena listening in from the UK. We got Papaya from Germany. This is amazing. So thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's going to be so much fun because we're talking about people who joined our free workshop last year and in years prior, which you can do too. We kickstart it tomorrow, and you can register for free. Just go to membershipworkshop.com. By the way, give me a heart if you have already registered for the workshop. Give me a heart if you've already registered for the workshop. If you haven't, then I'd encourage you to go and register right away, because here's the thing. We run this workshop one time a year. This is it. And the reason that we only run it one time a year is because we go all out on creating the most valuable $0 investment workshop that you can attend. And it all starts tomorrow. And I will share this right from the get-go. You will want to be there live. And the reason is because we run these secret segments. We call them the super secret segment. And it's only for people who are there live. They are edited out of the replays. And so it's very worth your while to be there. And I'll just share this. The exercise that I'm going to walk you through tomorrow during the super secret segment of workshop number 1 is an exercise that I walked a client through about a month and a half ago. She has had a membership site. She's had it for years. It's been steadily growing. And she hires me every year for a one-day VIP session. And the focus of that session is always to identify, like, what are areas of the business that if we tweaked those areas would have a ripple effect everywhere else. And in this particular session, we noticed that if we would tweak her ability to generate more traffic, it would have a ripple effect everywhere else in the business, because she's really good at conversions. She's really good at retention. Traffic was the weak spot. So we sat down and I walked her through during this private consult, the exercise that I'm going to walk you through tomorrow night. And here's the crazy part. Traffic was the spot that we needed to figure out for her. And she, on Instagram, her audience had been stuck at around 5,000 for quite a long time. Here's the amazing part. In the last 30 days, I just checked before I jumped on here. The last 30 days, her account has gone from 5,000 followers on Instagram. She just crossed 20,000 followers in a 30-day period. 20,000. She's 4x'd her audience by using what I'm going to share with you tomorrow during the super secret segment. So you'll want to come join us live. You can register for free at membershipworkshop.com, and you can go and follow Lisa's incredible growth journey. She can be found on Instagram, Lisa K 3/8. Lisa with a K and then 3/8. But anyway, It's incredible growth. And that's the power of what we will be talking about during the super secret segment tomorrow. Make sure you come join us live. Okay. So with that, I want to dive into and talk to a number of our incredible guests who all have amazing stories of what they have done with their memberships. My hope is that in hearing the stories, you'll be inspired, number one. And number two, their stories will help put things in motion for you. So with that, I'm going to bring to the stage, so to speak, our first guest, and that is going to be Ellen. Let me see. Ellen, how are you? Oh, wait, let me unmute. How do I unmute you? Gosh, this is Stu and Tech. Okay. There we go. Got it. Ellen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Stu?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for your willingness to come join and share with us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. This is always fun. I love connecting with you to discuss this particular topic specifically.
Well, so let's get into it. Before we do, I want to ask, though, who is your market? Who is it that you serve?
So I help distracted and discouraged goal setters become focused and fearless goal getters. So it's those people that either aren't quite sure how to set a goal, or they set a goal, but they never figure out how to get to the finish line. And so our community sticks with them as long as they want us to, and we take them all the way to their finish line. Whether it's a personal or professional goal, we get them to where they want to go.
That's amazing. Okay. So we're talking about the free workshop and the value of that free workshop. We're talking about like getting going and launching membership sites. I want to first rewind and just talk to you about the idea of a membership. You know, when and how were you beginning to think about a membership? When did that idea get planted?
Sure. So, what happened with me was after I started achieving some pretty big goals in my own life, specifically, I ran the Boston Marathon 3 years in a row. And because of that success, people started asking me, how do you keep doing this? How do you say you're going to do something and actually do it? Because a lot of people talk about doing things and then don't. And after it just started to be a pattern, people would ask me and I would show them and I would teach them. And over the years, I mean, this has been accumulating for several years. People would say, you should be charging for this. You should be charging. You're giving away your wisdom and your information and your experience. And I just didn't quite understand how to start. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Like I need to know how to start. And fortunately, I was kind of in a little bit of a different situation where I'd had surgery and someone told me about this workshop. She had just gotten an email about it and it was perfect timing. So for those of you that are afraid to send emails, it was a life changer for me and many of my members. And that's what made the switch for me. I had wanted to do it. I had tried out different platforms and I never really felt the way that you guys teach is a little different than making me feel like I had to have everything in order. I've taken a lot of courses over the years and I felt like I invested a lot of time and energy and money, but did not have the steps one at a time. I just felt like I was trying to eat an elephant. So that was my experience before I took this workshop.
Well, and I think a lot of people can relate because I would love to hear if anybody can relate to being a perfectionist. Let me know in the chat because I 100% have been there. And what happens is we overthink and overanalyze and we wait and we put things off. And instead, as you mentioned, this workshop, we do teach a little bit differently. And the whole goal is to get people in motion as quickly as possible. And so when you were attending the workshop and we're walking you through like how to get clear on your membership site idea, how to position yourself, how to launch it, even though you may not have any, like you said, you didn't have anything. And by the way, there's a lot of people that can relate to the perfectionist side, Ellen. Like Tracy said, oh yes, perfectionist. We got here, yes, paralyzing. Quinta said, absolutely. Tracy said, another Tracy said, oh my God, over organizer here. Like this is a common thing, right? Patricia said, definitely a perfectionist. Lori said, I'm a recovering perfectionist. So it's 100% like something that we can all relate to. So when you hear me talking during the free workshop about and walking you through the process of launching a membership, even though you don't have anything created, what's going through your mind?
Well, I will say first and foremost, the I call it the personality that starts at the top and filters through your team. The way that you taught during that workshop, and what you I've noticed in your teaching since then, is that you give us permission, whether we're looking for it or not. You give us permission to start messy and just keep going. Because I remember you saying, it's all an experiment. We're experimenting. And I think for those of us that profess to be a perfectionist, or, I mean, we all have our control issues depending on the topic. I think the important part to think about was, you said it's okay. We're experimenting. Those of us that are perfectionists, we don't want to experiment. We want to hand you a perfectly wrapped package and make it look beautiful, because that's what we are, that's what we're following, is what we see as perfectionism. So I think you and your team just being okay with us not having everything all together, but experimenting. Do this, learn from it, and then keep moving. And that entire personality has dripped over into my membership. So my members are very gracious when I say, "Hey, we're going to try this. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but we're going to try it. Are you game?" And of course, they're very supportive. So I appreciate that, because I have been in very high priced training programs where I had to have the right camera and the right lighting and the right this and the right that, and I just would never start. It was too much.
Mm. Okay. So you'd made the commitment to go for it, and you decide to do your founding member launch. What happens?
Well, first of all, I gotta say this is so pivotal in even just my as a business owner, doing something when someone says do it this way. Normally, I'll push back and be like, I will say, I want to see it in motion. I want to make sure it works. But when you were saying, and someone joked the other day, it was because I was on painkillers for my surgery, because I was literally recovering from foot surgery when I took this workshop. And I said, well, maybe that softened the blow a little bit. But because you said this is the founding member launch, you're going to say this, then say this, then say this, then say, not word for word, but you gave us the idea of what to write. And I still have that. I screenshotted it. I actually share it every year now as we celebrate our membership going into the next year. And I did that. And of course, I held my breath. I remember thinking, what if what if not one person responds? Because, you had prepared us for that. What if, it's okay. It's an experiment. And the first person responded, and then the next person responded, and I was getting a little bit of an endorphin rush, and I'm watching the screen and refreshing the post. And within 48 hours, there were 30 people that raised their hand and said, I want to be a founding member. And bear in mind, 24 hours prior, I didn't even have a membership. I didn't have content. I didn't have anything. I had all these people that I had taught previously and a lot of free content that I had put out there, but I didn't have anything formal. So then it was, what do I do now? There are literally people sending me money. What do I do? I went from a zero investment. I didn't pay a dime for that workshop, and I actually made money. At the end of that workshop, I'm sitting there looking at these people, and I'm like, oh no, well, where do we go from here? So for nothing. I mean, I didn't invest one penny to start my membership. And the ripple effect since then has just been incredible what we've seen happen.
So I want to ask some specific details. Then I want to talk about the ripple, because I want to hear about that. But what did you charge for your founding member launch?
It was $197 for the annual. So when I met with them, I said, look, I want to offer you a very low entry price, because I'm very honest, and I don't know where we're going, but here's my vision. I did cast a vision in a little Zoom call that I had, my founding member launch Zoom call. And I said, this is where we're going to start. And, we have raised the prices since then, but initially it was $197. So you can do the math. My husband actually came in and said, is there something going on with our bank account? I'm not sure why, but I'm getting these notifications. And I said, oh, just leave it alone, because I'm not sure what's going to happen here. So it was a crazy 48 hours, literally.
Did you tell him that you were going to do this?
No, I was sitting on the couch recovering from surgery, and he was at work. So I'm just going through this workshop. My husband knows me to be a person I try to learn from anyone and everyone that is considered a guru. And I was told that you were the membership guru. So I'm sure he just assumed I'm sitting here taking notes in my binder. And next thing you know, he's like, what's happening? What's going on with our bank account? Are you doing anything illegal? No, not me. So that's been our joke. But yeah, we had 30 people that stepped up, and I was in shock. I was in shock that people would go from not paying for and move into, and some people I was kind of, I knew them, but some people I was totally surprised that they would join me on just a no real promises.
Well, I'm just doing the math, Ellen. And so 30 founding members at 197. And that meant that you generated close to $6,000 from your founding member launch right from the get go, which is incredible momentum. And then you shared that it has created a ripple since. And so, talk to me briefly about that. What
Sure.
happened? What has happened since?
Sure. And I hope that just by sharing this one quick story, that it will, I know that you guys do this a lot, but I hope you and your team understand the power of having someone take action. I could have taken another course and not followed through, not posted the founding member launch, but again, you gave me permission to do it messy. And since then, so we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. We have a big retreat coming. We have people coming in from the US and Canada to celebrate our 2 years as a membership. And just this week, and I'm going to try not to cry because I get emotional when I talk about this, but we have members in our community that are pursuing business goals, fitness goals, family goals. They run the gamut. And we have one of our founding members. She's amazing. She's always she's usually the top community contributor every single month. She's just really engaged, stays close to the fire. And we always ask them to post their wins because we acknowledge and then we celebrate them when we get together. So think about this. You set up your workshop, you taught your workshop. There was one person sitting on her couch watching that workshop, took the founding member launch seriously, did it, then created the membership as you instructed. And this woman, so she is one of our members from New York, and she just posted this week. In 1 year, she has lost, and I want to make sure I get the numbers right, 62.2 pounds and 24 inches. She has reduced her need for blood pressure medicine. She now has the resting heart rate of an athlete. And all of her health markers, every single marker that she met with her physician a year ago, every one of them has gotten better. And she's
Wow.
amazing. And this is just one of many. We have 3 women that pursued business goals. And out of that, achieving that business goal, they are now on the leaderboards of their company. And then they got invited to a very prestigious advisory group for their company. And this is, dial it back to 2 years ago when you said, hey, you can do this founding member launch. Just do it messy. It's an experiment. People's lives are being changed, Stu. People are
Mm.
literally changing their lives. And they would all tell you if they were here, they would say it's the community. The community is what kept them going forward, even when they wanted to give up and quit. It's the community. So thank you for teaching not just how to train or teach people, but how to build an engaging community, people that really care about each other. And you'll see, I'll send you guys photos for our retreat is coming up, and we're celebrating. We're bigger, we're better this year. We're not even able to fit into an Airbnb now. We're actually in a legit host hotel. So it's just this beautiful ripple effect. So thank you, because of your guys' efforts, people's lives are being changed. Literally.
Well, I want to take a moment and acknowledge you. Like, you took action on it. And I think that more than anything, that's the most important piece of the puzzle. And we just don't realize the ripple effect that our memberships can have in the lives of those that we are teaching and helping and so forth. And it's incredible. As we wrap up your segment here, Ellen,
Mhm.
I got 2 questions for you. First one is, what would you say to somebody who has been thinking about starting a membership site? What piece of advice would you give them?
Well, especially if they're watching this, I would remind them, just like you reminded us before, you're in the right place. You're not here by accident. You don't just stumble onto this. You're here for a purpose. And if you take it seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously, and just follow the wisdom. You're on this site or this page or this video for a reason. Take it to heart that you can start messy, and the people that are meant to be with you will show up. It was obvious for me, 30 people in one post.
Amazing. Where can people go to connect with you?
Yeah, so we're at goalgetters.global. And if they're looking for my name, either one, ellenmars.com, either one, and you can connect to our socials. And I will say, if you don't mind me throwing this in, this year's retreat, we are taking an experiment and we're inviting guests. So we're not even having just our members come to our retreat. It's open to guests as well. So I'll keep you posted on whether that actually turns out to be, I'm sure it'll be a great thing, but it'll be a new thing that we're trying because we start messy and figure it out. So thank you.
I, I love it, buddy. Well, Ellen, thank you so much, buddy. Congratulations. Definitely keep me posted. I love hearing about the journey, and I love hearing about the ripple effect. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. So, Ellen, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Stu.
Super fun, right? Like, again, most important piece of the puzzle is she didn't wait to get it right. She just got it going. I heard a great quote back in 2004 from a gentleman by the name of Mike Littman. He said, "You don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going." That is a writer downer. You don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. Ellen is a perfect example of that. And I love the fact that she started with 30 founding members from one post. It was a Facebook post. And from that, charged $197. She generated nearly $6,000 right out of the gate with her founding member launch. You can 100% do the same. We're going to walk you through that whole process during the membership workshop. If you haven't registered yet, go and register. If you have a friend who's been thinking about it, tell them to go register. Come to the experience together. It is super fun when you're doing it live with somebody who can join you on that journey. Okay, our next guest. She is right here. She has got an amazing membership site for language learners. Bronte, how are you? Oh, hang on. I got you muted. Gosh, I do the build up and then there's that. There we go. Okay, got it. Bronte, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Buddy, so great to talk to you. For those who aren't familiar with your audience, who is it that you serve?
I help passionate and often introverted language learners go from feeling frustrated with their studies to making consistent progress and confidently using the languages that they're learning in their day-to-day life. I help the nerdy people.
Well, I told you before, I can't wait because one of my goals is to be fluent in Swahili before my wife and I travel to Kenya next year for our next donor trip. My wife goes back a couple times a year, but I go back every other year. So I'm going to follow up because I'm like, I want to be speaking fluent Swahili by the time we go back. Okay, just a quick aside. What I really want to do is I want to be fluent in Swahili. So the kids in the communities, like where we build our schools, they'll be talking, and because I know that they're joking around about me, they're saying stuff about me, and I'd love for them to say all the things, and then all of a sudden I'd love to just drop a Swahili bomb, and they're like, "What?"
Yes. That's
okay.
one of the fun things about language learning. You get to just pop into a conversation.
For sure. I can't wait. Okay, so with that, you help language learners. Talk to me about your founding member launch. What happened? How did it go? Where did you post it? Talk to me through that process.
So I did post it in all the places many, many times, but it was because I knew that most of my people were either on Instagram and TikTok, because those are my main platforms. And I was just starting to get into Facebook and trying to build and establish myself there. But just like Ellen was saying, you gave the challenge in the workshop. And I was like, okay, we're doing it right now. I'm not waiting, because I know myself. And, I am also a perfectionist. I also do the productive procrastination where I do something else that's really important, but not the thing I should be doing. And I was like, if I don't do it now, it's not going to happen. So I drafted the post, I shared it. And then I also had other things that I was doing. So like lives on TikTok. And I was like, hey, I'm just going to talk about it there because I'm already going to be there and I'm excited about it. Let's just see what happens. And similar to what Ellen was sharing, the fact that you gave us permission, it really helped, because I was able to set aside my perfectionism for that moment, the FML moment, and just see how this goes. The goal with this is not to get it perfect. The goal is to play around and just, see what results you get or don't get. And that gave me the opportunity to breathe and not go, not expect those high expectations, sales page and, complete membership space and all the content. It was like, just throw it out there and then see what people say.
And so this is important, because what I hear you saying is you didn't have a whole bunch of things already set up. Like, you didn't have the sales page set up. You didn't have the members area set up. You didn't have a whole bunch of content in the members area created.
I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing except the ideas up here.
Yes. And so you put the message out. What happens then?
I got 10 members. It was a slow trickle. And at the time I was like, okay, when do I stop this? Like, when do I tell them doors are closed? But it was a slow trickle of people across platforms. And then by the end, when I officially closed doors, I had 10 founding members, and it was amazing, exciting, weird, because I was like, it's working, apparently.
And so, and what did you charge for your founding member launch?
I charged $25 for the founding members.
Amazing. So right out of the gate, if I'm doing my math, 10 times 25, that's $250 a month. Over the course of the year, somebody did the math, that's 2,500. That's $3,000. Is that right? $3,000 right out of the gate?
Absolutely. And once I had those members, then I said, okay, now let me get all the things that I need, because I have people that are waiting for it.
Okay. So after you close the cart on that founding member launch, and you just take a step back for a minute, what thoughts are running through your mind in that moment?
Honestly, the perfectionist in me was like, oh crap, what have I done? Was like, okay, now I'm committed. Now I actually have to follow through with what I promised. But then I was also very excited, because now I'm like, I get to do the thing that I wanted to do. So there was this, both sides, but I was very excited about the process.
And so you welcome these 10 members. Talk to me about like the first experience with those founding members, because I know that question comes up. Is like, okay, but what do I say to the founding members? Like, how, what do I communicate to them? What was that like when you began communicating with those founding members?
So one of the very first things I did was I just hosted a call with all the members, and I kind of repeated the same messaging of the post that I shared. I was like, hey, I don't have any of this all figured out. I just have ideas, but I do know what I'm talking about. Like, I do know how to do this whole language learning thing, and I know that I can get you there. I threw out some ideas of things that I was thinking of adding. I said, what is it you're looking for? It became sort of a Q&A. And then I created a community space in one of the posts that still exists in the membership now. It was a coming soon log. And I just updated that every once in a while when I was like, okay, I'm working on this thing for you guys. Like, if you don't see anything happening, it's why I'm working behind the scenes, I swear.
But it's a really genius insight that I hope everybody's picking up on, because you're keeping your members in the loop. Like, you're not like going dark and, ghosting them, so to speak, until you get the thing created. It's like you're involving them in that process of, creating a membership. And that's actually part of the appeal for those founding members. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I will share one story, because I feel like this is something that people might be worried about. One of my founding members, maybe a month or two into the membership, sent me an email and said, hey, I love what we're doing so far, but there's not really much in here. And I was wondering if you could pause my payments until the membership is fleshed out. I panicked, and I was like, see, this is what I thought was going to happen. But, I breathed, and I responded and said, hey, the plan with this founding member launch is that you're helping me to create this. And so if there's something specific you're looking for, I would love to hear it, because I want to make sure you're getting what you need out of this experience. We had a little bit of a back and forth. She is still in my membership today. And she shows up to the calls, and she is like one of my biggest troops when it comes to like talking about the membership, connecting with other members. She is still here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. Fast forward. I know that this membership for you is now covering all of your business costs. Talk to me about like, the journey that you've been on with this membership, and what do you see coming? Because I know for you, like you got big visions for where you see this going. So talk to us about like the journey thus far and where you see it going.
Absolutely. So I've been experimenting and testing different sort of community experiences, just seeing what members want, and also trying to give them what they need to, because I don't just want to give them what they want and they don't actually make progress in their language studies. And so we now have like monthly challenges based on skills. There's prompts going on. There's lots of collaboration happening. And actually, I just made a post in the TME group last night, because I had this big epiphany of completely changing the roadmap for my members, because I realized that it's not as good as it could be. And
Mhm.
I'm like, now I have to speak to my members and tell them, hey, we're experimenting again. We're going to try something out. How does this feel? Let's give it a month and like do it all together and give me your feedback. But I know that this next shift is going to be in their best interest. And I'm very excited to see how that goes. So,
Well, and I appreciate you sharing that because I think, well, I don't think I know because I've been doing this for a long time, that a lot of people get ingrained in their mind that whatever they launch with, that is going to be the membership content until the end of time.
oh
And what I
no,
hear you saying is like, hold up. The content is always going to evolve. The experience is always going to evolve. And we're adapting that based on what we learn with our members. Can you speak to that a little bit?
absolutely. Because within the first 3 months, I think I changed my roadmap 2 times, 3 times. I was like, oh, you know what? I don't like the name of that second one, and the milestones don't work. Guys, let me fix this for you. I'm going to make the milestones clearer, but they're very gracious about it. And I think each time they're like, oh, that does make sense. That is clearer. So it's
Mhm.
getting closer and closer to what I know it can and should be for my members. And this is the next step into, okay, redesign, let's start from scratch. But it's based on a lot of the feedback that I've been getting, either directly from members or indirectly from like conversations and things that they're posting. And I'm like, I know this is going to make things better.
Well, I love it, buddy. I'm grateful that you came to share with us today. What final piece of advice would you give for somebody who is on the cusp of thinking about launching their membership, but maybe they're that perfectionist that you were talking about and they're waiting? They're waiting and waiting and waiting. What would you say to them?
As perfectionists, we know ourselves, and the best decision that you can make is taking action, because that is going to put you in a position to, one, use your perfectionist strengths to your advantage, the high achieving things that we can do very well, but it also actually gets you results. And we can't get results until we start taking action. And so you have to start. You can start small, you can start micro, you can be messy, and then you can fix and improve later, and it's going to get better later.
Bronte, you're amazing, buddy. Where can people go to connect with you?
Instagram is probably the best place to connect with me personally. So I'm the Polyglot Fox literally everywhere, but Instagram is probably the best place.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Okay, here's what I want to do as a challenge. In the comments, let Bronte know like the biggest takeaway you took from her session. Like just put aha and then just let us know like what the takeaway was. I'm sure we can reflect these back to her. We'll take some screenshots. We'll share them back to her so she can read through them. But let her know what your biggest aha from that session was. Super inspiring. And here's the thing. Remember, like a membership is like an evolving business, right? Like it's not set in stone. And that's one of the big takeaways that, I think is really important from Bronte is the most important thing is to realize that we are there always adapting and changing the membership to suit our members' needs. And as she said, the sooner you get going, the more effective it will be because we can make those changes quicker, faster, easier. So I just love the message. And the reality of it is this is all part of the membership workshop. I want to encourage you to come join us. It's free. It starts tomorrow and it is epic. There are 4 sessions. The first session, we're going to be diving deep into number 1, clarifying your membership site idea. Because if you're not clear about the idea, guess what? It's going to be very hard to be able to communicate the value to your potential members. So when memberships launch, but they don't convert, it's almost always because the person doesn't know how to communicate the value. We're going to talk at length about that tomorrow. We'll talk about whether your idea for membership is a good one, the markets that are really good, how to position yourself, and I'll be walking you through an incredible process during the super secret segment. So make sure you come and join us live because the only people who get access to the super secret segment are the people that are there live. It's going to be edited out of the recordings. So you'll want to be there because that process is the process, as I was referring to earlier, that was responsible for helping a client of mine grow recently her Instagram audience from 5,000 followers to more than 20,000 in less than 30 days. This was the last 30 days. I've been checking her Instagram. It's like my own like little launch. And last night she was at 17,000. She's crossed 20,000 today. Like she's growing at 2,000 to 3,000 a day right now. It is crazy. It's amazing. Anyways, I'm going to walk you through the same process I walked her through during the super secret segment. Come join us. Go to membershipworkshop.com. Okay, our next guest. I'm going to bring her right up. Let me get rid of this. And then I will bring Jamie up to the stage. Jamie, how are you?
Hi, Stu.
Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for jumping on and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we're going to dive into all the things. Before we do, who is it that you serve in your market?
Well, I knew you were going to ask that, so I tried to write it down, but it has changed since 4 years ago.
Okay.
So 4 years ago, I was helping the creative. I was helping people get started creating, developing like a creative habit. And what happened when I started my membership, I started a subscription box, and it's evolved. I've actually kind of developed a whole new audience because people were watching what I was doing. And they were watching how I was building my audience, and they were watching how I was doing the business side of things. So now I've become more known for helping the creative business owner go from being stuck in their head, dealing with a lot of their mindset issues around tech, especially, and keeping things simple, and helping them to feel more confident in their business so they can create a life that they love.
Wow. Okay. I love all of this. And I want to rewind back to when you were in the spot that so many people watching and listening are right now, which is the idea of a membership right now is just an idea. Like it's just kind of something that's kind of floating around. They've been, they may have never even thought about it until they saw this crazy Canadian talking about it.
I hadn't.
Or they may have, right? And so take us back to that moment, when you were exploring the idea of a membership. Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do?
It was not. I started my business, quit my full-time job at the end of 2019, and January 1st, I started my business, and really didn't even get started until March. And we know in the middle of March, everything changed, and I had to pivot and I had to shift, and I started doing live videos. And I was doing that for about a month, and my business mentor, which Heidi Easley, she told me about you, and I trusted her. So I decided to tune in and loved your energy and what you were talking about. And that was really the first time I had ever thought about it, but I had seen what Heidi was doing too. Like I had seen her build out her membership. So I kind of had an idea what that looked like. And I was watching the workshop, and all we could do was things from home, right? At that time. So I just kind of had an idea on a Friday during the free workshop. So that would have been day 2 of the free workshop. And I kind of fleshed it out a little bit over the weekend.
Yeah.
And on Monday, I went live and launched it.
So I just know that, for me, it's so fun to hear your story and everyone's stories, because I know there's people watching and listening. You're like, wait a minute, what? You're going from an idea on Friday to like launching the thing on Monday? Like you must have been like, working like crazy over the weekend to do this and do that and all these things. But like, talk to me about that. You decide to launch it. Like, what does the founding member launch look like? Walk people through, like, what does that look like?
I was already doing live videos Monday through Friday because that's all that I really had to do at the time. So that's what I did. I just talked about it Monday through Friday during my normal live videos. And I'm a creative, and I know there are a lot of creatives watching. I've seen them in the chat. I kept it super simple. I actually listened to you, and I started with a PayPal link and a Facebook group.
Okay.
That was it.
Amazing. So I want people to realize this. So you didn't have a sales page. You didn't have
I didn't even have an email list.
Email list, nothing. So you just started with a Facebook group, and people could pay through a PayPal link.
That was it.
Amazing.
That was
okay.
It.
So you
and
put
I
it out
found
there.
this. this was my wait list. It was a little pink Post-it note.
That's amazing. Okay, so talk to me. So you put the message out there. What happens after that?
I had people watching my videos, so I knew I had some kind of interest. And I remember I didn't have the link right.
Oh no.
So I thought that I was going to do a bi-monthly payment and I was going to have it like $39 and I had all this and I didn't have the link right. And somebody was trying to join. So she messaged me, said, I can't click the link. It's not working. And so I'm frantically at my computer trying to figure it out. And I did not get a photo of this because I know you got a photo of your first sale, but I remember fixing it and seeing that payment come through and knowing that that was a recurring payment. And it was on my phone and I ran into my husband and I said, look, it worked. Like, Stu, I started at $14.50 to mail product.
Wow.
Yeah. So
When
I
your
just got it
husband,
started.
when you have that conversation with your husband, what does he say?
He's very supportive and he's learning, but he didn't understand what that even meant. He's not on the online world. And so he understands quite a bit more now, but he congratulated me and said, oh, that's great, honey. You know,
So. You're like, no, this is a big deal.
It's the start. Yeah, I knew that it was.
And so how many members joined during that founding member launch?
I had 9.
9. Okay, great. And so you've got that momentum, you got revenue coming in, and you charged, was it $14?
Yeah, so it was only like $100 and whatever dollars. That it wasn't very much per month. But the very next month, you were asking like what I started with, and I think I started with like a Facebook Live, just an introduction, and here's my vision. And I wanted to have a couple of months with them, but that first year, I opened up my membership so that I could practice opening it up and launching and building my audience and all of that every single month.
Oh, so okay, so you did a launch every single month. Got it. And so then what has happened since, Jamie? What's happened since in your membership journey?
So much. Because that's the thing. I didn't know when I started what today would look like. I just kind of kept taking action. So because I opened up my membership every month, I grew to about 120 boxes that I was mailing from my basement. I was packing everything up and mailing it. I increased the price. It got up to $27 and, kept building my audience and building those. And after a while, that becomes a lot of excess product. And, you constantly have to be thinking about how Bronte talked about just shifting to and pivoting to what your members want. And I was getting the feeling that they were not using what I was sending out. It was piling up. They weren't consuming the product. So last year I pivoted to more of a digital membership. And in that time period in between, I started a second membership for the business owners. And I started a course. And that course has led to a retreat that I took last year. And I'm taking again in 5 weeks to Florida with some of these creative business owners at this beautiful beach house on an island by the water. And I actually started a back-end membership with some of those business owners. So right now I have 3 memberships and I've pivoted. My original membership has changed names 5 times. The content has changed.
Bronte's got a few name changes left to go.
Yeah. So it's led to all of these different opportunities and relationships and experiences that I never would have had I not gotten started back then.
Did you ever have any hesitations when it came to starting the membership?
Oh yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't some days. Like I have a conviction that I want to help people and I want to teach people how to be creative and use their creative problem solving skills, which is kind of what led to the creative business owner side of things. And that's really my heart. So I go with my ideas and I just figure out as I go along. So,
well, it's super inspiring to hear the evolution of going from this idea with your box subscription to that growing from 9 members to over 120 to then evolving into these multiple digital memberships and how that continues to evolve. I love hearing about the retreats and the way in which you're gathering your members together. It's incredible.
that's awesome.
What would be your number one lesson that you would pass on to somebody in their membership journey?
I share this with the people that I work with all the time is you have to get it started and take action, which is what several people have already said, because that's what gives you clarity. You can't figure out things when they're just up in your head and you haven't tried them. And then once you get clarity, you can't even imagine right now the opportunities that could potentially open up for you. And you won't unless you get it started.
Yeah, such great advice. It's funny that you said that because just as you were saying that, Papaya said something very similar in the chat. The biggest thing is the courage to take action.
It is.
Exactly
That's one of the biggest hurdles. Yeah.
Amazing. Jamie, where can people go to connect with you?
So I keep it super simple on Facebook. I'm Creations of Studio 39 is for the creatives. And then I have a group that's called Creative Business Owner Basics. And that's where I kind of have more of the creative business owners gather.
Amazing. Jamie, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thanks, Stu.
Super fun. Super fun. I can see in the chat, you guys are awesome. I'm seeing people tuning in. Let me see here. Elsa tuning in from Portugal. Super fun. I see YouTube user Claudia from Canada coming in. Great to see. Everybody's jumping on. I'm not sure. Oh, SKM Media. That's Luke. Luke from Saskatoon, Canada, tuning in. Amazing. But here's what I want to encourage you to do. Leave a comment. What was your biggest takeaway from that last session with as we were going through there? What was your biggest takeaway from Jamie? Let me know that. Okay. I want to encourage you to come and join us for the membership workshop. You'll see the link right there. It's all free. It starts tomorrow. It's amazing. And it is by far the best $0 investment that you can and will make in your investment or in your business this year. So come and join us. Okay. We have 2 more guests. I'm going to bring up Alex. Let me bring her up here. Alex, let me unmute you. Boop. Okay, Alex, how are you?
Hey, Stu. I am so great. I'm so excited to talk about memberships. How are you?
I am great too. You have an amazing story because you never had an intention of setting out and starting your membership. So I want to unpack that. Before we do, though, who is it that you serve?
I help aspiring watercolor artists find joy and fulfillment through painting.
Alex, that's amazing. Alex, is there, I think you're breaking up a little bit. Maybe let me just double check. I want to make sure that's not just on my end. Is everybody able to hear Alex okay? If you can hear her okay, give me a thumbs up. If it's breaking up a little bit, let me know that as well, because it might be on my end and there's a possibility there. But regardless, we'll figure it out. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it's breaking up a little bit, Alex. Is there, let me think here. That's okay. I wonder if I can hear a little bit echo. Is there, can you maybe, let me think. Maybe plug headphones in?
Is it any better if I move my microphone?
No, I could still hear a little bit.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
It's okay. You know what we might do, Alex? We might have we'll come back to you. Oh, how's that? Tinker around with a few things. See if it we'll see if we can get it figured out. If we can, amazing. If not, we're gonna have you back because you're amazing and I love your story. Okay, so I'll be right back, Alex. In the meantime, we're gonna jump over to Jess. Let me bring Jess up. Jess, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since we last chatted,
Yeah.
so there's a lot to catch up on.
There is.
But I remember when you were joining us for our free workshop, and you went for it. You launched your founding member launch. You got an absolutely crazy result. We'll talk about that in a second. But before we get there, bring everybody up to speed. Who is it that you serve in your market?
Yes. So this is really fun. I've also evolved quite a bit. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur and business strategist, and I'm helping creative entrepreneurs become well-known, highly paid using books, publicity, and strategy.
Okay, which is super fun to hear the evolution of how things have evolved. But when you were going through the workshop,
Yeah.
like you're hearing about the founding member launch, we're talking about taking action, imperfect action,
Yep.
and you just said, "Okay, I'm going for it." What happens? What did you do?
I was coming from the vantage point of a fine artist, and I'd used publicity to grow my audience. And I had a higher ticket course that was amazing, and I had that pool to start a membership. And literally on day one, when you said, "I challenge you guys," I was like, "I will report tomorrow." And I launched it that night. And in 7 days, I had 185 founding members, and I had the vision of just the high vibe art tribe to help fine artists gain visibility and really have a safe container where they could learn that visibility is profitability, basically, and being seen and heard is really, really important for any entrepreneur.
Okay, it's crazy because I remember like you giving updates
Yeah.
in during the workshop in real time, and it was just like, what? People are like, what is happening? Like, this is crazy, this is insane. And so we hear about 185 members. Do you remember what you charged then?
Yeah, I was $27 a month for the founding membership. So in 7 days, that was like $5K a month immediately. And then I relaunched it a month later and went up to $7K a month of income. It was just unbelievable how quickly that changed my revenue, that changed everything. And all of a sudden I had this incredible membership and these beautiful people to serve. And I did it scrappy. I did it scared. I didn't have anything prepped. I'm also a recovering perfectionist. So, this was literally one of the best moves I've ever made, was to come and join this membership workshop. I mean, the free workshop, you could be charging thousands for the value that you gave to me and everybody there.
Well, it's incredible. And I want to put that in perspective because I know people at home are, and by the way, thank you for that, Jess. I appreciate those kind words. But we're doing the math on this. So 185 members, you charge $27. So as you said, that's just shy of $5,000 a month. So you multiply that out, that's nearly $60,000 over the course of a year if those members were to stay all that whole time. Now, will every single member stay? No. But that's still a gigantic launch, like from a founding member. And when we talk about a founding member launch, it's one of the most simple processes. How did you communicate with your audience? Was it a post on Facebook?
Yeah, it was a post on Facebook that night, and I used all the like party emojis and just was really, really excited about that and connected to all of these artists who really, I mean, what I've learned is that most entrepreneurs struggle with visibility and the mindset around being seen. There's so much fear that we all feel around being judged and all of that. And I think that's where communicating that value so simply was the thing that so many people were like, oh, I don't really quite know what this is, but I want to be part of this. And I really spoke to the heart and soul of people who were yearning for community too. I mean, just having a membership for the community, because I've started another one since then as well.
Well, okay. I want to hear about it because you build this community. You've got 185 members right out of the gate. A month later, you did another relaunch. You welcomed, was it like another 80 members, you said?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so you've got all this momentum. And since that time, I know that your business has continued to evolve, and it's evolved in a big way, which is really inspiring. So talk to us about like the evolution now of your business and where it's come to.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I have $1 million business now. I just moved into this 6-bedroom house, and I'm a single mom of 7 kids. So I feel like there aren't even statistics to kind of measure up to. And that if me, this single mom in scrappy overalls and paint covered all over, can use that as a springboard, like anybody can do this. It just really takes that scrappy willingness to put yourself out there and know that it's not about the failure or the success. It's about what are the breadcrumbs going forward? Because now I have one-on-one clients that are paying me over 6 figures a year for one person to work with me on business strategy and publicity. And last year I published over 130 authors in these multi-author books, as a door opener for greater publicity and being seen. So it's really just catapulted me, and really connecting to people to listen to what they want and what they need at every stage of the journey. So I've gone low ticket, I've gone high ticket, then I go back to low ticket, and then allowing myself to follow the inspiration and really listen to the results that people really want, the outcomes that they want, and how to collapse time to really get them there, help them get what they want. Because this freedom now for me, I want everyone to experience that. In fact, my 3rd book is going to be Radical Freedom. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reading the comments here. I got to give a shout out. Let me see here. I just saw my buddy Jenna Kutcher just jumped on. She just said, "Way to go, Jess." And then scrolling down here, Darlene just mentioned, she said, "Incredible story." And she asked a great question. What about those with 0 followers? We'll talk about that. Janine said, "Love this." Marbecca, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correct. Amazing. The comments are coming in fast and furious. I love it. Here, amazing. 7 kids. That's the most amazing part. Yes, 7 kids. And I just want to touch on this for a second, Jess, because I do know a little bit about your backstory because we've chatted before. And I know that for you, yes, it's about like being able to build a successful business. Yes, it's about serving that audience and helping them. But there was another big lesson here that your kids were able to watch their mom be able to do something right before their very eyes. Talk to me about the ripple effect that that's had on your kids.
Yeah, and I'm immediately emotional because walking in this house, this big, beautiful house, and seeing their faces, like, and they're teenagers now, the impact on that, for me to be the one that showed them this out of the box way to just trust inspiration, to trust my own gifts, to help other people monetize their gifts. Most of my audience are creatives, out of the box thinkers, ADHD people just like me that want to learn to trust themselves, to be seen and heard and known, and to live out their passion. And so for me to show my kids that I broke the mold, I'm in recovery. Like I reached rock bottom in 2018, and to really live out what it takes to just believe in yourself. And they saw the low moments. This has been a roller coaster of near bankruptcy a couple times. It really took, I think, what's that famous quote? It really comes down to belief. If you believe you can, or you believe you can't, you're right. And that has been that ripple effect for my children. I can't even quantify in words or articulate that, but it's huge.
I can't think of a greater gift for you to be able to give them than them just seeing your journey, and so much of the lessons that our kids learn, we all notice as parents, is not so much through what we say, but them seeing what we do. And so I love that they've been able to witness you on this journey. And I just want to talk now briefly as we shift gears and talk about memberships and talk about, what's evolved and what's happened. You've mentioned you've now launched additional memberships. So for you, are you always thinking about recurring revenue now? Is that just a part of the way in which you're thinking about your business?
Absolutely. Recurring revenue is a beautiful thing. And when you're an entrepreneur, there's not much that's predictable unless you zero in on something that creates that recurring revenue and building a money machine. And that's where the strategy side of it, I completely geek out on that. How can we make the most money with the least amount of effort and the greatest impact for our people in a way that lights us up the most? You know, like that's the magic combination, and building that machine, and membership is a huge part of it. And that's where, you know, this fun one that I started last October, I called it an experiment, but it's really a membership disguised as an experiment. And it's just how pen and paper and intention can rewrite the inner narrative that you have going on in your mind. Because really in serving the low ticket and the high ticket of a wide range of things, it comes down to that belief. And for me, that was like the thing. This was what I used to believe in me, was to rewrite the story so that I could continue taking action even when I was terrified, especially like day one of your workshop 2 years ago, you know, like I was scared to death. I was scared to death. I didn't have a plan. And it panned out, but even if it didn't, you know, and I think jumping the gun on like what's the biggest takeaway for people is to train yourself to feel the fear and do it anyway, to train yourself to get comfortable with the discomfort. If I'm too comfortable, then I know I'm not stretching and expanding as big as I can. And now, I mean, I've got a 9-figure vision, and where I started, you know, I could only dream about making over 6 figures. And so that's a pretty big thing. And it came from that moment by moment, next right action that's out of my comfort zone. Do I feel the fear? Okay, I just need to know that next right thing. And I think that's especially true of a founding membership. It's like, what's the next right single thing I can do to take steps towards launching this baby?
Jess, such a great way to end our segment together. Where can people go to connect with you?
Either jesshughes.com or Jessica Hughes Fine Art on Instagram is great.
Buddy, that was amazing. Thank you so much for coming and sharing and just being an inspiration. I would encourage you to go check out the chat. It's been lit up. People are loving it. Really grateful. Thank you so much, Jess.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me again. Bye.
Cheers. Okay, here's what I want to encourage everybody to do. Go leave an emoji that would visually describe how you're feeling after hearing from Jess. So go leave an emoji describing how you would feel, how you're feeling after hearing Jess. It's an incredible story. And one of the things I want you to realize is that I've been doing this for a long time, helping all kinds of amazing entrepreneurs. And I want to help you too. And what I want you to realize is that so much can happen in such a short period of time if you open yourself up to that idea. Come join us tomorrow. We start the membership workshop. It's free. As Jess said, it is the best $0 investment that you can make in yourself and in your business this year. Come join us. It's all free. And bring a friend. Like, encourage them to register and create like an accountability group attending the workshop. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be epic. Membershipworkshop.com. Okay, I'm going to come to Alex. Fingers crossed. It'll work. Alex, oh, hang on. Can't unmute your guest. Oh, I think you have to unmute yourself. That's what it's telling me. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes! Yes! All right.
There's
Success.
nothing like a tech glitch that has never happened before to get you pumped to go live in front of a bunch of people.
Well, Alex, I'm so grateful that we can chat to you because you similarly have an amazing story. And it wasn't that long ago that you were doing something completely opposite. And I want to talk about that real quick. Before we do, though, share with everybody, who is it that you serve in your market?
So I help watercolor artists find joy and fulfillment through painting. And we mostly paint flowers. This time I grabbed a prop so I can show you.
Amazing.
Flowers together.
Okay. And so my guess is that you've been an artist your entire life. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, that would be makes sense. No, I have been an artist since 2016. That was the first time I picked up a paintbrush and started painting. And at the time, I was getting my master's in human rights law, completely different. And I just started painting for myself to relax and to chill and to ride everybody else's coattails, like best perfectionist in the building. I was so hard on myself. But I started painting because I wanted to do something where I could just enjoy the process and unplug and not put so much pressure on myself. So I started painting, and then people wanted to buy some paintings, and then people asked if I could teach them how to paint, and that is how I got in the entire education painting world.
Amazing. Okay, I just got to share this comment because it makes me chuckle. It's from Amy. She said, when I was in second grade, I got an award for my first and only watercolor painting of yellow daisies.
I love it. I love it. Well, come paint with me, Amy, and it can be your second painting of daisies.
Okay, so you're going down the path of becoming a human rights lawyer. You're painting as a way to relax and de-stress. You enjoy it. You start teaching classes. Where does then that evolve to a membership?
So I started teaching in person, and I mean, it's the same old story that everybody has, right? COVID came along and all of our hopes and dreams just went down the toilet. So at the time, all my classes were canceled. People were calling me up like, do I have to wear a mask? What do I have to do? And I was like, I don't know. I teach people how to paint flowers. So I had followed a couple people over the last couple years before COVID who had memberships. And so I knew like peripherally what a membership was. And they had learned from you. And so I was like, I'm going to see what this, this Stu McLaren guy is all about. And let me tell you, if you guys are new to the Stu universe, perhaps like me, you might think this can't be real. Like, he can't be that positive. It has to be. It has to be fake. He can't maintain that positivity. But I've been in your universe for a few years. It's real. It's authentic. And so I signed up for the free workshop, and that was the basis of everything. I'm going to give a little spoiler. I have a membership with over 500 people now. I love it. It is my full-time job. I love talking about memberships. I love teaching people. It has been so fulfilling. So that's the little spoiler of where the story is going.
Well, it's incredible because when we talk about journeys and progress, going from an idea to now a membership with 500 plus members. And I also know very recently, your most recent launch was a huge success. And so we've been talking a lot about founding member launches, and we've been talking about the momentum that created. But I also want to talk about somebody, you've had your membership now. How many years has it been, Alex?
It's going to be 3 years. This
3 years.
May.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk to the person who has had a membership site for a while. So here, actually, I just saw somebody here who said they've had a membership site for 15 years. So they want to re-energize it. And so I know for you, like, you just came off your most successful launch ever. Yeah. Talk to us about that, because it's been a few years since you've had the membership, and yet your membership continues to still grow. So talk to us about your most recent launch. What made that so successful?
Okay. So I could give you the, little cut and dried version, the bullet points, but I got to tell you guys, I have learned some things from Stu recently about being open and vulnerable and in touch with your emotions, because you learn all of that stuff too when you're in Stu's world. It's not just the business of how to, have a membership. I have learned so much about myself and being more confident, and I think having permission to be myself and know, I don't have to be the best in the world at this thing. I have to be myself. I have to have my own brand of painting, my own way of teaching, my own style of doing things. And so this last launch, financially, it was really successful. It was the most successful by far in terms of numbers. And that is, of course, the thing that gets people really excited. You're like, oh, I can make a bunch of money. But what it meant for me personally was that this work I've done, for the last few years, it turned out it wasn't just work on how to understand technology. It wasn't just work on like getting my camera angles right. Clearly, it wasn't work on how to get my microphone to work. No, but it was work on myself. I know we joke about being recovering perfectionists, but perfectionism is actually kind of a curse. It keeps you stuck. And so that thing Ellen said, at the very beginning, the permission to start messy is a thing I've carried with me for every launch. And I had challenge after challenge with the last one. I had bronchitis all the way through it. And I thought Stu rolls with things. Like he rolls with those punches. And I'm just going to be myself. I'm just going to own the fact that I just dipped my paintbrush in my drink. I'm going to own the fact that, my dog is barking at the furry creatures outside. And I don't know. I know the thing that's exciting is like you get a lot of people in and you make money, and you do. And that is amazing. But that's not the part that changes your life as much as being yourself and finding your community and finding people who want to learn from you and who embrace it, and knowing that you're not alone in it. And I actually went back because I knew I would be in this panel. I went back and I watched the first video I did for my founding member launch. I couldn't watch the whole thing because I was like, whoa, we've learned a lot about technology since then. But I watched some of it and I started. I'm so proud of myself for that one, for just starting. I was using my iPhone propped up on a stack of books. I was using the iPhone microphone. It was not polished, but I was talking about that with my members. I was like, hey, those of you who were there, do you remember that? And they remembered immediately. They were like, that was the video that made me want to join. And I had nothing. I had no content. I had no idea what I was doing other than what you taught us in that workshop. And there were a few people who've been with me from day one, and they were like, I loved that video. That's the reason that I wanted to keep painting with you. And so the perfectionism, I'm still working on it. It's going to be a lifelong process, to shed that. But I have a Post-it note. I know you said, write this quote down earlier, which I didn't. But my Post-it note says, good enough is good enough. I remind myself of that all the time. You just have to start, right? You just have to get going, even if it's messy. And when you work hard and trust the process, you end up a couple of years later, having something that is amazing to share. And it gives you that external validation, I think, of hey, a bunch of people wanted to join. And, it was this much money I made in my launch. But it's the internal stuff that is honestly really life-changing. So.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Alex. And there's a whole bunch of people in the comments who are really resonating with what you are saying. For example, here's Holly. She's just talking about how my perfection is actually fear of failure. And I love everyone saying, just get messy. And let me scroll down here. Oh, this was from Jess. Sorry, that was another one for Jess. I'm scrolling through here. Here's one. Speaking of Jess, she said, love this so much. Alex. And then Shirley here just said, great story. And so people are really resonating with this. And I think this is important because we can talk tactics, we can talk strategies, and we're definitely going to unpack those during the workshop. But you're touching on something that I think is equally as important, if not more important, for so many people, which it's actually not the tactics and strategies. It's so much more the mindset game and the belief that we have in ourselves to be able to move forward. And more often than not, people stall their progress, not because they don't know what to do, but because they just don't believe in themselves. And what you're sharing is so powerful because you've talked about how this membership journey, you've become more confident in yourself. And that confidence has a ripple effect in all areas. It's not a coincidence that you now at your most confident just also had your most successful launch, right? Like there's a correlation there. And I think that that's a really important lesson for everybody. But that confidence isn't like a switch that just gets flipped on. It's not something that we just like, oh, okay, we'll just flip on the confidence. Like that doesn't happen. It happens because we get emotion. It happens because we build momentum little bit at little bit at little bit. And over time, that's when we can look back and we can see the progress that we've made. And I want to ask you about that. When you look back, you've had this membership site now almost 3 years. Reflect for people the difference in your life because you have this membership in terms of not only like the things, but like who you are as a person, as a leader in your business. Reflect for us that evolution.
You're making me emotional. I am a different person. I realize that I have ideas and they're good. You know, I think we won't have a therapy session here, but I think I grew up, doubting myself, doubting that my ideas were good. I needed validation from people. And I think I've realized now, like, oh, I disagree with somebody about that. And my opinion is valid. And I have this idea. Looks like nobody else has had this idea before. And I'm going to try it and see if it works. Or, I'm going to experiment with this kind of, it could be like a painting style. It could be a way of setting up your technology. I'm going to experiment and see if it works. Being okay if it doesn't. Oh my goodness, that's a huge thing. Trying something and then saying that didn't go great. I'm not going to let that derail me. I'm not going to let it completely stop my progress, but I'm going to use it to motivate myself forward. And painting is what I know. So I'm going to use my painting metaphor, but I tell my students, if you sit down and you want to paint something beautiful, you have something in your head and you're like, I want it to look like that. And it doesn't, right? You paint it for a couple of hours or a few days and it doesn't look that good, right? You can either say, I am a failure. I have messed up. There's no point in trying anymore. I can't do it. I knew it was too hard for me. Those people who said I wasn't an artist, they were right? You can choose to believe those things. Or you can make a choice and say, I learned that I don't like these colors. I learned that I used the wrong paintbrush, and I'm just going to take those lessons and bring them to my next painting. And as long as you're learning a lesson from everything you do, there is no failure. And that's like a total mindset shift of, you know what? You could do a founding member launch. Worst case scenario, nobody joins your founding member launch. You can believe those things. You can choose to say, like, I knew I couldn't do it. It was just a fluke, blah, blah, blah. Or you can choose to say, okay, what can I do different? Like Stu also had this workshop. I'm going to go watch it. I'm going to try a different thing and I'm going to do it. But the cool thing is that I don't know. I don't really hear from people who get 0 people in their founding member launch. Your strategies work, And so it's that taking action. It's the learning from the things that don't go as well as you wanted them to, not stumbling, not getting tripped up, not stopping. You have to just keep going and take the next step. And that momentum builds and it impacts you internally. It impacts your mindset. You find that when you make those choices in one area of your life, suddenly they roll over into other areas of your life, right? It's the coolest thing. Like as I find success in business, I find, oh my goodness, I'm getting more disciplined in other areas of my life. All of a sudden there's like a little walking treadmill under my desk and I'm getting my steps in. All of a sudden, we're doing this thing, we're meal prepping our meals because all of it is connected. It all rolls one thing into another. And when you can adopt that healthy mindset of maybe that thing didn't go as well as I wanted it to, but I'm going to use that to propel me forward into the next thing. That is getting healthy in every area of your life, which is so cool. And I'm really passionate about it. And it's funny because I can talk about memberships. I could talk about these internal changes all day, every day. And I'm probably rambling. So I'm gonna silence myself.
Well, Alex, I appreciate you taking time to be transparent, to share the stuff. It's resonating. Like, here's a comment. What you say resonates so much with me, Alex. Thank you for your transparency. Here's Brent, who just said phenomenal. Here's BB. This is so good. I'm a perfectionist as well. This is great, or that's great, Alex. It's just so fun to see how what you're sharing resonates with people, because I think we all can relate. Like, we can all relate to the fact that, like, we have our own fears, we have our own doubts, but we just got to get out of our own way. And in doing so, it can open up so much opportunity and possibility. Over 500 plus members. By the way, what's the price point of your membership now?
So it's gone up a little bit every time. When I first started my founding member launch, it was $17.97. I didn't know anything about marketing. I just thought I'll throw that 97 cents on there because I see other people doing it. And it is a nice round $45 a month now.
Wow. And that's another takeaway for people, just seeing that evolution of price. Incredible journey. What words of encouragement would you have for people coming into the workshop tomorrow?
So I'm glad you asked. First of all, you have to trust the process. We are bombarded with social media and Facebook and the internet and books and other people and experts in our lives who just know what to do, but they maybe don't know what to do, right? We're bombarded with opinions and ideas, and you should do this and you should do that. But if you can go into this workshop and just silence all the other things and just listen to Stu, listen to what he says, because it works. It's amazing. It works. Trust the process of it. When you come up against a hurdle and you feel afraid, reach out to the community. I have never been in a community where people are so generous and so willing to share and so willing to give. And it's so funny because sometimes you're afraid to ask people, like, well, what did you think of my class? Or could you write a testimonial? But when you really are excited about something, like, I love to be here. I think this community loves to share stuff that has worked, or to say, let me help you with that. Let me help you with the tech. This is what worked for me. So lean in, silence the distractions, quiet the other voices, trust the process, and then start. That's the hardest part. You can accumulate all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't start, there's nothing. You can't edit a blank page. So you have to start. And those are my two top tips. Trust the process and just start.
Alex, I love speaking to you. It's incredibly inspiring. And where can people go to connect with you afterwards?
I am Alex Kincaid Art everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. That's my website. All over the place.
All the things. Buddy, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Stu. Looking forward to tomorrow. See you there.
Yeah.
Bye.
What a great session, right? What a great session. What I want you to do in the chat, let me know if you are in for the free workshop tomorrow. Let me know if you will be coming to the free workshop tomorrow. If you haven't registered yet, go and register right now, membershipworkshop.com. It is free. And you are going to experience, as Jess was saying earlier, a workshop that we could easily charge thousands of dollars for. You've heard multiple people here today who talked about launching their membership during the free workshop, generating thousands of dollars in revenue from what they learned during the free workshop. All you got to do to register is go to membershipworkshop.com. And then when you do, let me know in the chat if you've registered. I see, all right. I see a whole bunch of people. Kathy just said, yes, this is my second time around. Looking forward to learning more. Amazing. Donna giving me the thumbs up. Let's see here. I'm registered, but the time zone is different. I'm a VIP. Amazing. In says Hope. Jennifer says I'm in. Sass Bay says I'm a VIP. And let me just quickly talk about that. You will have an option to upgrade to VIP if you would like. We have implementation sessions the day after each of the workshops. So there's 4 workshops and we have an implementation session afterwards. And essentially that's for those people who want to fast track the process of taking what you learn during the free workshop and putting it into practice. So if that's you, then come join us for VIP. There's extra sessions. It is in a Zoom room. It's more hands-on. We actually are putting what we are teaching from the night before into practice. It's epic. So if you see people talking about VIP, that's what it is. But I am so pumped and excited because this time of the year is the year that we just go all in on helping support you with your memberships. And so I just want to encourage you, if you haven't done so yet, come join us. Membershipworkshop.com. It's all free. It starts tomorrow. Workshop number 1 starts tomorrow, and you'll want to be there live. So what I would encourage you to do is just get a buddy, encourage them to register for the workshop, and then show up together. Hold each other accountable, show up together, and let's make it a fun party. Like, this is where we can take it from a siloed experience and create a more of a communal experience. But here's what I will promise for you. Tomorrow, you will come out of that workshop. You will be much more clear on your membership site idea. You will know exactly what kinds of markets are perfect for a membership. And if you are with us live, which I hope you are, and you're there for the super secret segment, I'm not going to tell you when we do the super secret segment. It might be at the end. It might be in the middle. I'm not going to tell you when. But for everybody that's there live, you will get to experience it. It is edited out of the replays and recordings. So for live people, that's you, hopefully, you'll get to experience the benefit of it. And that, what I'm going to walk through tomorrow, is the exact process that I just walked a client through recently. And she implemented what we did during this exercise. And in the last 30 days, because of that exercise, her Instagram audience has grown from 5,000 to more than 20,000 followers in the last 30 days. It's unbelievable. And I bet by tomorrow, it'll likely be like probably 22, 23,000. Like, it's growing now by 2,000 to 3,000 a day, which is crazy because she wasn't growing at all. And now that she knows how to communicate what she does more clearly with her audience, it's resonating. And that's what we're going to walk through during the super secret segment, is a process to be able to effectively communicate what you do so that it lands and grabs people's attention and they want to be a part of it. And so come join us. The workshop is free. Go to membershipworkshop.com. Make sure you're there with us live. The super secret segment is going to be juicy. You'll get a ton of value from it. And my promise to you is that this workshop, especially when you factor in all 4 sessions, it will be hands down the best $0 investment that you will make in yourself and in your business all year. And as Alex mentioned, it's so much more than the tactics and strategies. My goal is to help you build momentum with you. If I can do that, then everything else will take care of itself. So come join us. It's going to be epic. Thank you, by the way, to everyone participating in the chat. I absolutely loved seeing all the comments and all of the engagement in the chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Bring that energy tomorrow. We definitely need it. And as we wrap up, I would just encourage you to leave our guests, a thank you. That's Alex, who you just heard from, Jess, Jamie, Bronte, Ellen. Give them a thanks in the chat. Let them know your big takeaway from what they shared, because that means a lot, right? Especially like when people are opening up and sharing. So just let them know that in the chat as well. All right, friends, I will see you tomorrow. Workshop number 1. It starts. If you haven't registered, go do that. It's free. We'll see you there. It's going to be epic. Bye-bye.